Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 266 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Diana Daffner, and I followed her on Facebook, and wait till you hear what she does. I'll tell you, I mean, half the time after reading her posts from her and her husband, I got to take a cold shower. So she's really got something that very, very cool, and we've never heard this on this show before. But you're going to meet her in a minute. Now, episode 265, hope you didn't miss that. And I think Diana had something to do with it because it was on booking great podcast guests. And I'm thinking, hey, how am I going to get Diana Daffner on here? I need a great podcast guest. So I told all about how to get great podcast guests on episode 265. Now, make sure you grab a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. It's all the techniques and tips and tricks I've used to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 40,000 customers without pulling my hair out. And there's all kinds of tips for your cell phone, and some of the tips, one tip, and this is not BS, not as exaggeration. We figured it out a couple years ago. Saved me about 7.5 million keystrokes, and that's like as of 2 years ago. So it's more than that now. So you'll really like this book. And then make sure you grab a copy while you're there of our podcast app. It's you can take us with you on the road. It has all kinds of cool features. We got video and screen capture training, so you don't have to wonder how to use the darn thing. And you can grab that at screwthecommute.com/app. That's APP. All right, our sponsor is the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. Currently, it's a distance learning school and has been for 11 years, but this summer, we're trying to open it up for in-house classes because we're trying to get accepted by the GI Bill. And one of the things we are desperate for is we need a veteran-friendly accountant. Doesn't have to be a veteran accountant that's qualified to do full-blown audits, that wants to make a deal with us to get an audit. So that's the only thing holding us up from the final application for the GI Bill, so we can help lots of veterans. So let me know if you know anybody that'll talk to me about that. So anyway, this is IMTCVA, that's Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia.org. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about a quiz later that's going to make you mad, because you can see how the traditional colleges and universities are doing what I consider, and I have a consumer advocate TV show in development, so I'm kind of in tune with fraudulent stuff. I think these people would be in jail if they hadn't brainwashed the whole world for 100 years of how important their college degrees are. And I'm a big advocate of education, but not the way things are going now. So I'll tell you about that later. All right, let's get to the main event. Diana Daffner, with her husband Richard, is the author of Tantric Sex for Busy Couples: How to Deepen Your Passion in Just 10 Minutes a Day. And they lead romantic workshops for couples called intimacy retreats. And they've been filmed by ABC TV and featured in USA Today. And Diana holds a master's degree in counseling, was a massage instructor at the, I think it's Esalen, she'll tell me if I mispronounced that, Institute in Big Sur, California. And she holds a black belt in aikido too. Diana, are you ready to screw the commute?
Good question for me.
Yeah, huh? I know. Perfect. How you doing?
I'm great, actually. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. So tell everybody about what you are doing with these intimacy retreats.
Well, an intimacy retreat is a workshop, basically, for couples. They're held in usually destination locations, often romantic places. We've held the workshops, the intimacy retreats in various parts of Mexico and Jamaica and Costa Rica, across the United States in various locations, and here in Siesta Key, Florida, where Richard, my husband, and I reside. And what they are is they're as I said, they're workshops. So the design is it's a group of people come together, a group of couples. They're usually couples who are in pretty good relationships, feel really good about each other, maybe looking for a little bit more excitement in the bedroom, or maybe uh, more connection, more intimacy, more feeling connected with each other, or maybe they just haven't had a vacation for a long time on their own, or maybe they're just curious about Tantra, which I'll talk about.
Are these typically couples that have been together a long time, or?
We get across the board. We have sometimes we'll have couples who are at the beginning of their relationship. We get a lot of couples who've been married for a long time. Got a whole section of couples probably who have been together, maybe 5 to 15 years, and their bedroom joy has kind of fallen off, and maybe they haven't even been on a vacation without the kids for 10 years,
Ah,
So it's a whole variety, really.
wow. So this Tantra, I've
Okay.
always wondered about this. Like, is this like Reiki? Like, you like hold your hands over people, but don't touch them. I mean, it's just, there's all kinds
No.
of misconceptions. I mean, I have no idea what this is. What is it?
Okay. So you're right. It's a foreign word. It's an The word comes from the Sanskrit language from India, and Tantra refers to a set of teachings or an approach to understanding life that was to um, revealed and studied thousands of years ago. And so I used to introduce it more as a spiritual training, but now I really understand that people are familiar with the word mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Today, everybody knows the word mindfulness, a nice English word. We may not know exactly what it means, but we like the word, right? It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
The Tantra really can be understood as the original training, the very first training that the human race ever had in mindfulness. It really is a training in mindfulness. And it really has nothing to do with bedrooms or relationships, love, marriage, anything, sex. Really, it's really not about that. It's about becoming aware of who we really are, and our beauty and our joy. And in the case of sharing it with our partner now, it's sort of more of a modern time. In the ancient times, it wasn't about sharing that joy with another person so much. Now it was more internal, okay? And now today we're using it to say, hey, if we become mindful of ourselves and become mindful of the connection we have with our partner, and we do this in the bedroom, whoa, it changes everything.
Mm. Wow, wow, wow. So you and your husband started this together?
We did. Well, yeah.
Was this out of necessity? Was this out of necessity that
Well, yes and no. Actually, it didn't start. We didn't really set out to do workshops. Some years ago, we were sitting on a deck overlooking. It was in Fire Island, New York, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean and the Long Island Sound at sunset. It was really beautiful. And Richard had just sold a partnership and a business he was in. And so we were at that place of, okay, what's next?
how long had you been married at that point?
I don't know, 5 years
Okay,
maybe.
all right.
I'm really,
So
yeah.
relatively new marriage.
Relatively, right. And so we hadn't gotten the 7-year itch yet, I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay. So we were, it was this kind of a sale a business sale that gave us the opportunity to create something new. It wasn't like, okay, now we're done, we never have to work again, but it gave us a couple of years of, okay, let's think about, what we're going to do next, and where we want to live. We were living in Manhattan at the time.
Oh,
And
it's good that you're not there today.
yeah, right. But we loved it, and we felt really good about life. And it just, we said, let's create a life, a business that keeps us looking at sunsets over the ocean. Okay, we like that.
Hmm.
There we were sitting there enjoying it, right? And and that the customers or the clients, the people we're around, are other couples who like coming to wherever we're going to be overlooking the ocean, and so that we're around happy couples,
Mm-hmm.
sort of, couples on vacation maybe. And we came up with this idea that we would create a resort for couples, and it would be located on the beach somewhere facing west. And even then I said to Richard, I said, the best thing about this creating a dream is how cool it's going to be when we make it happen. How cool it is to create a dream and really go after it and see it to its fruition. So that was our idea, and we actually did take off. We went to Costa Rica thinking that maybe that would be a good place to do it, and because Richard wanted warmer water. Not that Costa Rica has such warm water. We were trying. The Pacific side of our world, of our country, of our continent, is where you can see the sunset over the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
and the water tends to be very cold. And we didn't know at the time when we went there that it's still cold. Was down in Costa Rica, but anyway, we actually found some beachfront property that was at that time affordable for us, and it was a bit remote. And we looked at each other and we realized we're in a country where we don't speak the language. Neither of us spoke Spanish. I had never. We'd been living in a condo in Manhattan, and so when the toilet breaks, you call the super.
Right.
And this idea of building from scratch this resort place with cottages for couples and everything, it just started to think, maybe we're not the right people to do this. Maybe this isn't for us. And so we kind of passed on that idea. At the same time, though, we became even more committed to doing something for couples, for creating some kind of business that was really a support to help people who are in relationship to have happier marriages. And we became very motivated about that. We actually started something we called the Couples Project. And we came back to the States and we printed business cards for the Couples Project. I have no idea what we were going to do with it. I don't remember. But and then we kind of went back into doing other kinds of consulting work that we did that wasn't related. And then, it came back to me. It's like, we have something that we can really offer people, because we did turn to the study of this mindful, conscious relationship, because I felt that I needed something more connected and more intimate in our lovemaking. And Richard he'll tell the story. If he were here, he'd tell you the story. And it's in our book. He says it in the book. He said, Diana said, we can do this better. There's another way. There's a way we can bring more joy and delight into the bedroom in this way. And he looked at me and he said, you're probably right, but you'll have to take us there.
Well, a typical guy, right? Make the girl do all this work.
Exactly, because he was relatively satisfied.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of knew, things used to be maybe more intense and more fun, but, it was okay for him. And he also knew it could be more. And so we began applying ourselves. And then, yes, at some point we said, okay, let's share this with people. I want to tell you right up front, at our workshops, at the intimacy retreats, there's no nudity, there's no sexual activity in public. No public sexual activity at the workshop.
Well, I was wondering about that because, there's an old joke, about people, complaining about the high school, having sex education and stuff. And so one guy says, one of the teachers said, would you rather have sex education or sex training? And so that shut up the people. So is this sex education that you're doing, or what?
In some sense, it's a combination of education and training. It's training in mindfulness. It's training in awareness and how to apply it both inside and outside the bedroom. And Tantra provides a languaging, an understanding, an experiential approach that I combined with my background in aikido, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
So yes, I've
had a lot of work in that field myself.
You have?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of my teachers went to, I forget where, I think he went to Japan, and he had a bow. He was really traditional. He had a bow for 2 years before, and he had to draw it before they'd let him have an arrow. It was really serious. Yeah, I've been in martial arts my whole life, and I have a site called Brutal Self-Defense.
Nice.
But some of it was aikido and aikijitsu, because I had a nightclub, and I had to throw out people without hurt. I put a lot of pain on them, but there was no bruising. Right? So that's how I had to use it to get people out of there without getting sued all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So my years of Aikido were more about kind of a meditative approach, and yet being out on the mat
Mm-hmm.
and still being very active and physical. And so those were my years of martial,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Martial, and now I transferred that into marital, Maritl,
Marital arts.
right?
Yeah.
Marital arts. And I discovered that the Tantra teachings and Aikido had a lot in common, because they were really about being aware of yourself, being grounded. I mean, you had to do that, I'm sure, in whatever training
Mm-hmm.
you've done. You're grounded in yourself, and you're open and aware of what's going on around you. And particularly in Aikido, and there's this moment of connection when your partner or someone attacks you, and you blend with the attack. You're
Mm-hmm.
not fighting
Yep.
the attack, you're actually blending with it. And that's very intimate,
Mm-hmm.
to actually blend with the attacking energy and the person. And so we've applied all of that. Then I also had some background in Tai Chi. Richard and I are both certified in a kind of an easy Qigong version called Tai Chi Cha. And again, Tai Chi is not about relationships. It's not about improving or enhancing your marriage. It's about circulating your own energy. But as we began to share this with couples, we began facing each other, we had them face each other, and the movement started changing a little bit. And we created a program we call Tantra Tai Chi. It's our own version of,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's really easy for people to do. And maybe it's not the movements at all. Maybe it's just the idea that they're standing in front of their partner and making eye contact and grounded in themselves. And that's the start of a whole new relationship. It's very exciting, the work we do. It really is.
Yeah. I did have a little bit of Tai Chi, but not too much. But I do remember I was speaking in Hong Kong a long time ago, and I'm all jet lagged, and I'm half crazy from, can't open my eyes. And I look out the window. It must have been 5 a.m, and there's a bunch of people walking down the street with parakeet cages. And I'm like, am I in some dream or something? And then I look over in the park, there's a whole bunch of people with parakeet cages next to them doing Tai Chi. And so I don't know if you know what that was all about, but
I don't know, but yeah, I've never been to China, but I do understand there's all these, lots of people do it in different ways at
hmm
the park. So, and there's lots of variations and versions. And so ours is called, as I said, Tantra Tai Chi. And I even, as a business person, managed to get the name trademarked. Okay. And we have a video that you
did you get the
actually,
website domain? It
we do.
probably available.
TantraTaiChi.com,
Yeah.
intimacyretreats.com.
hmm
I know. We even have a practice. It's sort of a daily date that Richard and I do, that we teach about, and it's written about in our book. And we call it Peaceful Passion. And I was talking about domain names with uh, a cousin, really, she was starting a new business. And I said, you really got to look for that domain name. And I said, I've been wanting to get Peaceful Passion, but somebody's had it, And I said, see, I kind of went online and went, oh my God, it's available.
Yeah.
And so I got peacefulpassion.com as well. I know you have multiple,
Well,
many.
yeah, but before you name your business, you got to make sure that you can secure the domain name and the most of the social media, and so the Baltimore made a big boo-boo one time is they had this giant contest over all Baltimore City about naming the stadium. And so they announced the winner of the stadium, and some young guy went and bought the domain instantly. They never
That's
bought.
what happened. That's what happened at the first Democrat debate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. They had to pay the guy $100,000 to get the domain back.
Well, here's the thing. We have a friend, Ed, who is brilliant. He and I actually were on the cover of, what was it called? D&B, Dun
Duns and
Bradstreet.
Bradstreet, yeah.
I'm turning around to see it on my wall here
Yeah.
somewhere. Oh yeah, D&B Reports, right. Ed and I are on the cover because we started the first desktop publishing business in Manhattan.
Wow.
And he was an early Apple user.
Oh,
and
man.
he himself was an artist and a designer, not I. I was a trainer. So we joined forces. Anyway, not long after that, but some years after that, he had moved to California, and we had just moved to Florida. And he called us and he said, I just earned $10,000 to design Apple's first webpage.
Wow. That is very cool.
Yeah. And he said, there's this thing called the World Wide Web. He said, until now, it's only been military and educational use. It's going public, and people are going to need web pages, and I can design them. And he wanted Richard to come out to California and market him, go into business with him. We didn't for various reasons, but more than that, what we really missed was at that moment, we could have gotten Coca-Cola,
I know.
the New York Times, anything, it's like the world was wide open.
Right.
And it didn't occur to either of us.
Yeah. Why would it? Hey, tell us more about the intimacy retreats. So somebody decides they're sitting there and they're looking at your webpage and they say, honey, we ought to do this. And so what happens then?
Okay. So they registered for a workshop and they show up, and they're usually weekends. Sometimes they're longer, especially if they're overseas or in a different location. And during the course of the weekend, they
so it's a 2-day thing?
The weekends start Friday evening, they end Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
3 days, 2 nights. And they spend part of the time in the group session. And during the group sessions, part of it is us giving them information and teaching. And a lot of it is them practicing with their partner, whether it's a practice that involves a little bit of touching or communication or movement. They're facing their partner and they're getting the feeling of what it's like to really connect with someone. And then in between the sessions, we send them back to their rooms, and here indeed they do get to practice in private. They get to apply the principles that they've been playing with in a private situation in the hotel room or the bedroom.
Do they have to come back and give you a report and everything?
Well, yes and no. Nobody has to ever tell anything, but most people are willing to share with each other, whether they did it and how it was for them. And it's amazing. Sometimes the comments are more like, I've never looked into my wife's eyes for so long. It was so amazing. Or we haven't felt this way about each other since we got married. Or, the comments they make are, it's not about technical. It's not about technique or, sexual training in that way. It's about how to be with another person. And we're all so busy, or at least in normal life. Some of us in this Corona world are still busy, but some of us aren't. So, like, I'm like you. I have worked. I've screwed the commute a long time ago.
Right.
And and so I'm still pretty busy, and other people aren't, or they're busy with their children who are not normally at home, and so when we wrote the Tantra is usually thought of as a very elaborate, ceremonial, time-taking event. that you spend with your partner. And when people talk about, at least in the lovemaking and tantric lovemaking, that people would spend a long time and very luxurious, and most people don't have time for that. So that's why our book features a 10-minute practice. And this was not the original title of my book. You said it was Tantric Sex for Busy Couples: How to Deepen Your Passion in Just 10 Minutes a Day. That's the subtitle.
Yeah.
I did not write that. I did not call it that. The title of the book that we wrote was Ceremonies for Love: How to Create Intimacy in Your Relationship. That's what the workshops are about. And the publisher, I'm happy. I thought I might go the self-publishing route. The book came out 10 years ago, actually. And self-publishing was still on, just becoming more acceptable. I was really happy to be purchased by a publishing house, and he didn't like my title. So we ended up with a book called Tantric Sex for Busy Couples: How to Deepen Your Passion in Just 10 Minutes a Day.
See, I would have called it Microwave Tantra.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Do your Tantra before your popcorn's finished.
There you go. And although during an intimacy retreat, we give people home play assignments that are way longer than 10 minutes, but we do share with them that Richard and I have a daily practice. We have a daily date that is often just about 10 minutes, and it's amazing. It's a juicy, fun, spiritual, sexual, joyful time together.
That is awesome. So we got to take a brief sponsor break. And when we come back, Diana has a gift for everybody. So stay tuned, folks. I want to tell you about this quiz I was told you was going to make you mad. So the school that I have gives you a lot of skills that people want now. See, Google, Apple, IBM, all the major companies, Bank of America, are not even requiring a college degree nowadays because they're sick of people coming in and all they know how to do after 4 years is protest. So they want people with skills, and that's what we teach here. And the colleges are just money grubbers. I'm telling you, when you see this quiz, you're going to be mad. It only takes 2 minutes, but there's 7 ways that colleges are literally ripping off families and students. So I want you to check it out at imtcva.org/quiz. Of course, everything we do, all the stuff that Diane's talking about, is going to be in the show notes. This is episode, 266. And all you have to do is put screwthecommute.com/266. You'll be able to get to all Diana's stuff and just click on the link to take this quiz real quick. And then you'll see. And even if you don't have kids or you're not thinking of retraining yourself, pass it on to somebody that does. You literally could save them hundreds of thousands of dollars and get them into a skill-based training that is in super high demand. I mean, everybody on earth, every business on earth needs a significant internet presence, and that's what we teach. So, and in as little as 6 months, and we even have people in a couple months are starting to make a couple thousand a month. We had one girl in 4 months in the school. She's making $6,000 a month, quit her job, and she's not even done with the school yet. So very, very powerful training. And we happen to be sitting here in the midst of quarantine with this coronavirus. And we'll also get Diane to tell us about what future things she's got in mind for her business. So call me if you'd like to discuss your future online. All right, let's get back to the main event. Diana Daffner's here. And Diane, you got a freebie for everybody, right?
So yeah, we have an audio, it's a CD, and then it's available as a audio download. It's called Lessons in Intimacy: The Lover's Touch.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there we go.
Lessons in Intimacy: The Lover's Touch. And it's intended to be listened to by both people at the same time. It's kind of a guided home play practice. And it's available for sale. And we have a shop at intimacyretreats.com where there's a variety of things people can purchase to read or use at home. And this is on there, Lessons in Intimacy, The Lover's Touch. But if you're listening to this show, drop me an email from there and tell me you heard it on Screw the Commute, and we will give you the link to that download.
Awesome.
Audio.
Awesome. So now I mentioned that we're in the midst of the coronavirus. Many of us are hunkered down, and it's nothing new for me and you because we work out of our homes anyway. It's just maybe less trips to the grocery store. But you got some ideas for the future, right? To be able to do some of these online?
Well, yeah. So Richard and I like to travel. We had some great travel plans that, of course, aren't happening this next month. And I thought, wow, if this was online, live, we could do workshops or private sessions using the technology in a way that we hadn't really thought of before. I've always used it a little bit because I've always done a little bit of coaching, private coaching. And so Skype and Zoom have been part of my repertoire for a long time, but hadn't really thought about doing it with groups. And we're going to be doing some exploring of that, which would mean that we could be anywhere. I mean, there's nothing like coming to a retreat.
Right, of course,
it's really, they're held, as I said, in beautiful places, and the in-person, in real life, IRL is it, experience is kind of irreplaceable. But the technology is going to allow us to reach more people and people who can't get to a workshop. We someday in the future we might have a totally at-home based program, a total video program. But there's something about the interaction, the live interaction, that's actually it's more intense because you can't just pick it up and put it, try it again 2 weeks later, but it's happening right now. And part of what we do, part of I think the success of the workshops for the many couples that attend is that we hold them accountable. When we send you back to your rooms to do home play, it's very different than just sort of reading about it or hearing about it and saying, oh yeah, we ought to do this sometime. It kind of brings an immediacy to it. You paid your money, go do it, right?
Well, I'm absolutely sure it would be a life-changing and certainly unforgettable experience for any couple that would attend. But I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, you could teach a lot to like single guys and single girls too, because you got this $1 billion business on pickup artists telling these guys all the rotten things they do to just get in a girl's pants, and you could go to the opposite end of the spectrum and teach guys the good stuff about being in a relationship and trying to find one. I know you have it in you.
I'm sure we could, and there's a lot, and there are people out there who are doing that. It's not my calling, There's something about business. I think sometimes people expand their business and move away from what really got them into it in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I'm really wanting to. I really honor my calling.
Now, have you had any gay couples?
Actually, we have had quite a few women, lesbian couples,
right?
Who have. I've taught a workshop just for women. Richard didn't do it with me; I did it without him, and I've done that. And we have had lesbian couples attend our mixed couples. So we're a heterosexual couple, and so we teach from that perspective. But the work we do focuses a lot on the woman. We give almost equal attention to the guy, but it does focus a lot on the women. And it's so important for women to learn how to relax, how to receive, and how to have and for guys to appreciate how much joy they can, that the giver can receive when their partner is receiving their attention and their love. And in lesbian couples, it works the same way. And so they've very successfully and enjoyably joined in the regular heterosexual workshop. not gay guys at the workshops haven't. Years ago, actually, and we used to do more short things like a half day or a day long, and we did have attendance at those sometimes with a male gay couple. Yeah.
Now you live in the Keys, right?
No, actually, Siesta Key, Florida is like, this peninsula that hangs down, right? This appendage, right, that hangs down. And the Florida Key, what people call the Keys or Key West, which are at the very tip down on the way to Cuba. But both sides of Florida are dotted with islands. And a key means island, K or key.
Oh, okay.
And so Siesta Key is an island off the west coast of Florida at Sarasota. It's really part of Sarasota.
Oh, okay.
And it's south of Tampa, north of Naples, so on the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, the only reason I thought of it when I heard the Keys is because I have that longest running ever internet seminar called Butt Camp, because it's a goofy name where you're sitting on your butt and making all this money. And I had one in Key West, and a lot of people didn't quite understand what the name meant. Showed up for the seminar. So that's what I was thinking of.
I'm kind of getting, I think, the picture there.
So, well, thanks so much for coming on. Very, very unique, and you've made a business out of this. How long has this been going on? We've
been teaching intimacy retreats since 1999.
Talk about a lifestyle business.
And, so we 20 years, over 20 years. And the website is intimacyretreats.com, intimacyretreats, plural.com. And we're on Facebook, Intimacy Retreats. I mean, pretty much, if you look for Intimacy Retreats, you're going to find us.
That's you. Okay, folks. So check it out. If you are in need, or even if you're not, you don't have to be in some kind of desperation, almost divorce to do this, right? Anytime. No.
It's not therapy. It's very therapeutic, but it's not therapy. There's no bearing of all your troubles, and it's not that kind of thing.
You could just do this for fun, right?
It's learning something new that is going to enhance and transform your love.
That is wonderful.
Thanks for having me,
a lot of good in the world. Yeah, absolutely. Tell your husband I said hi. And everybody check out the show notes to grab that freebie that Diana so generously gave us. And this is episode 266. So go to screwthecommute.com/266. Check out all her stuff. Take that quiz. Be ready to be mad and pass it on to save some people hundreds of thousands of bucks. And we will catch everybody on the next episode. See you later.